Well, speaking of bums, we were at the 9 o'clock hour, and out came the Lollipop Guild. Brian The Rock is going to be on the Oscars, and the Buckaroos weren't even runners-up for the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards. Is that an ironic situation?
I'm not sure if that's irony, but it's something.
Well, it's like rain on a wedding day.
That's not irony either.
Well, it was in the song. It's like having one hand in your pocket and the other one flashing a peace sign.
That's a different song. Well, parts of that were a different song.
Well, anyway, so at 9 o'clock, the new generic piano music plays. Now they're not doing they were doing, what was it? Thunderstruck, whenever, some kind of, it's just boring ass bullshit music. They raise the Maddie and Nikki up through the stage in the middle of a fog bank while they're wearing their finest douchebaggery and blow off pyro after pyro. And the announcers are talking about, well, look at all the pyro they have and what a grandiose entrance, the EVPs have given themselves, and nobody's giving a shit. Are the people caring? Are those people standing there staring and mildly hooting this shit down, captivated with this new presentation of these two fucking uterine cleansing devices?
No.
Oh, I thought it was just me. So they kicked Tony Schiavone out of the ring. They ought to give Tony a fucking elevator over in one corner. Him having to climb in and out. And they do a promo like two guys working at a Subway sandwich shop, pretending to be wrestlers that on their break. Like, oh, we saw this on TV, and the guy said, hey, I'm going to tell you something. And I don't know what... Hangnail Page, they announced that they hated to do it, but he attacked referees at the pay-per-view, so he's suspended indefinitely from the Elite. Well, he's not... he's a heel now. He's supposed... So why are these heels suspending another heel? And they're not suspending him from AEW. They're suspending him from the Elite. Just don't goddamn bring him up again, you fucking morons. You think people care about your little fucking boys' clubhouse that fucking much? We don't care who's at your meeting when you have the treehouse thing all decked out. So they've suspended another heel from their little group. And then they say Twinkle Toes disappeared for no good reason. They're trying to get heat off of not being sympathetic to Kenny's problem with his lack of guts. So they fired him from the Elite. Because he's a full-fledged babyface. They can go ahead and fire him. And then and they're doing all this with that fakeness that you just can't unsee or unhear, that you know that they're acting this way on purpose and they're putting us on and they've got their tongue in their cheek about it. And then here comes Eddie Kingston's music. And he comes out to the ring and throws about $80 in fucking tins. I don't know what that was. At him to pay his fine in advance, and then attacks them in, I can't even call it sloppy. What was that? Nothing was connecting. Were they ducking and flinching? Was he just throwing sloppy paws in the air? What was going on with that fight, quote unquote?
I don't know. I'll say it again. I said it, I think, last week. First time I saw him, I said, this guy throws the greatest punch I've seen in a while. Haven't seen him throw it in a while.
I don't know what was going on there. Maybe he was afraid that he would potato him and they really would find him. But anyway, they get him down. And they've got him trapped for their little double knee lift thing. And again, the people are standing there staring. Some of them, again, are hooting, will you just quit? There's no goddamn chaos going on. But then music plays before they can do their knee lift. And when Okada's name flashes up on the big screen, they pop. There's a big, because here's the goddamn dream guy that they wanted to sign that everybody thinks is so great, right? I'm like, okay. And he comes out dressed, I believe you said this to me, I think, off the air, so I'm not going to take credit for it, but he was dressed as the Japanese Cody Rhodes. And out he comes, and he gets next to Kingston, and they face off with the Buckaroos. And then suddenly, Okada gets behind Kingston like he's trying to give him the Heimlich maneuver and fumbles to grab his arm and then spins him around. And I get there's his short arm clothesline. It's the Rainmaker or it's the whatever the fuck, right? So not only did he turn on Kingston, but he telegraphed it instead of just turning around and clotheslining the fucker or kicking him or doing anything. He takes 5 seconds to get the grip on him before he actually levels him. And then it's one short arm clothesline. And in this company where they don't sell goddamn being run over by a propane truck, Kingston takes one short arm clothesline, sells it like death, and he's down until the heels celebrate, walk around, and walk out, and he's still selling from one clothesline. They've turned their big new investment heel just to give the Buckaroos an artificial bump in their segments in the ratings or in some type of interest level where if they're standing next to the guy that the people want to react to, they think that they'll think that they're reacting to them. Why are they doing this? The fucking big multi-million-dollar signing they just did, Will Ostrich, they fucking put him in the heel group. Then he goes away for 2 months. They realize they need a fucking babyface, and they bring him back, and he's a babyface shaking hands with everybody while still in the heel group with the heel manager. And then they spend millions on this guy. And I get he probably wouldn't have been as popular as Ostrich because I'm pretty sure he can't speak any English, right? Or very little. So he ain't going to be cutting any promos to anybody on his side. But he's a fucking heel now, too, to prop the Buckaroos up. If you're going to make him a heel, at least make him a heel aligned with people that will draw money and interest instead of draw that away. Am I being overly critical here, or was this some dumb fucking shit that went on?
In their minds, it's good shit. In their minds, it also sets up the potential elite versus elite feud down the road when Omega can do anything again and Adam Page could be his buddy again and they could feud with the new elite. Maybe get a little trainee, a young boy. Maybe Kota Ibushi will be able to walk by that point.
Oh,
forgot about him. I forgot about him until this very moment.
No, he's in Tony Khan's new branch of his wrestling company called the Wrestlers Convalescent Home. Tony's going to sign people up to guaranteed contracts so they can go have fucking surgery and be out for 2 years on his dime.
Okada's the biggest star in New Japan for maybe the last decade. So it's a big deal getting him. And to the fans who like that, he's a name that if you've caught up with New Japan at all in the last 10 years, he's been in the center of everything. You're putting him with the Bucks, who are dead on arrival right now. Like you said, they're propping him up. AEW never does a good job capitalizing on the best way to use someone when they come in. With the exception, Malachi Black, when he first came in, they got more interest on him than he's had since, but a lot of that also was because of the dynamic with the fans reacting to Cody Rhodes.
Well, and also a lot of it was we hadn't seen much of him yet. The more we saw, the less we liked.
But everyone who comes in, they get squandered into something right away. Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, right into the Orange Cassidy feud. Will Ospreay, you know, if you like the matches, and I really like a couple of the matches, we'll talk about it later, they're great matches, but are they really elevating him? We'll talk about the numbers a little bit later. And now Okada. It seems like they never really truly properly capitalize on what someone could bring. Jay White. Jay White was a New Japan main eventer against guys like Okada. And now he's in the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, having scissor fights with his scissor friends. That's what AEW does to people. You get caught in scissor fights with scissor friends. So you're not being overly critical. We'll see how it works. I'm not to play too much of a spoiler, but other than the first hour, it was the high point of the rating, so there was interest in seeing what this was going to be. If they can continue that, it'll be something. Now, I was unaware of this. I was watching Svengoolie last night, but I had Collision on one of the other monitors, and I happened to look up. The Bucks and Okada had their first match as a 6-man on Collision.
The fuck?
The big guy they bring in, they bury him on the show. Then, well, I say no one watches it. It's catching up to Dynamite. I don't know. We'll see. But I didn't realize he was going to be wrestling on this show.
Well, no, you misspoke. Dynamite's catching up to Collision, not the other way around. But no, so 3 days after he pops up and makes his surprise debut and joins with these fucking morons without advertising it in any way in advance except probably on Twitter, they have a 6-man tag team match on television.